Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us virtually. I'm backstage in my office at the AGSM, but our doors are open to the public at a limited capacity. So exciting. It's our first opening since lockdown restrictions started. It's my first opening since I've joined as the curator here. Tonight we have a double bill, an all Brandon double bill with I Heart Brandon in the community gallery and Chris Reid's Nothing Smells an Absolute Zero in the main gallery. So for all of you who can't join us in person, we're just going to take you on a quick walk around both of those galleries, and Chris is going to join us for the second video. So you're going to be hearing a lot about Brandon as a word tonight, and since this is an all Brandon double bill, I do want to be very clear that these words, Brandon and Westman, stand in for the name of a really historied place. And this place where I'm currently sitting is Treaty 2 territory. It's the homeland of the Métis Nation and the shared land of the Anishinaabe, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene's people. So I encourage all of you to keep that in mind as we begin our tour. We're moving down our community gallery space. You can see that this exhibition is only minimally curated. We gave a size restriction. People had to be from the Westman region, and the work had to respond to the question, what about Brandon keeps bringing you back home? There's a lot of different responses ranging from the nature, the cultural activities, the spirit of acceptance, and all of these really idiosyncratic bits of built environment came up a lot as well. I am new to the city, and people who are more familiar will recognize all of these as absolutely iconic moments. The sky and the weather and the landscapes came up a lot. We were overwhelmed with youth submissions, which was really, really fun to see come in. Within siblings, there was lots of repetition, and then every once in a while you would get something just totally unexpected. Here we have a couple 3D pieces. One of them is a self-portrait, a very emotional piece. This is City Hall. We have a diorama, another one of those youth submissions with all of the wildlife that the artist has ever come across. So I was overwhelmed with the number of submissions here. There are cash prizes, but it became quite clear that that wasn't people's motivation for submitting. Within the three categories, we have youth, teen, and adult. And yeah, this is nearly 100 different artworks that were submitted to this contest. They were coming in into the last possible minute. And I think that they just really wanted to be part of this community. And I love how a community can be built without it. This is a nice example of how a community can be built at a distance without the actual social interaction. There's definitely a bit of communication that's happening between all of these people as neighbors, as they relate to what they have in common, as they walk around these streets and look at this environment. So that's I Heart Brandon. You can vote for your Audience Choice Award, which is another cash prize, on site until April 22nd. So if you have a friend or family member, sure, but also come in and make your choice. Let your vote be heard for the artwork that you think best represents a love letter to Brandon told visually. So that's the first one. That's been open for about a week now. But just tonight, we are opening the doors for the first time on Nothing Smells an Absolute Zero. I'm going to invite Chris to come join me.
Hi.
Hi, Chris. How are you doing?
Okay.
Great. So I think that you wanted to say a few words before we go on this tour.
Yeah, I wanted to thank a whole bunch of people. This project has pushed me in a lot of ways that that I haven't explored before. It involved interviewing people who have experienced homelessness, as well as interviewing people who have worked with homeless people. So I have a long list of thank yous in regards to that. So places like, I'm going to have to read off the list a little bit. The Harm Reduction Network, Safe and Warm, Community Health and Housing Association, Brandon Neighborhood Renewal Corporation, Samaritan House Ministries, Westman Women's Shelter, the Women's Resource Center, and YWCA Meredith Place. I also got funding from both the Canada Council for the Arts and the Manitoba Arts Council. And then I had other people who helped me with this project, like Debbie Huntinghawk, who's I consulted with. She's a knowledge keeper. Florence Hellcrow is someone else who has worked with the homeless population and was generous enough to spend some time with me. Carly Morisseau was my graphics person. Sharon Mullins was a consultant. Holly Parrott helped me through the first animation I've ever done. And Corrine Robinson helped me gather information for the structure of the 8th Street Bridge I sculpted. And of course, there's my family, Lydia, Emil, and Tony, and of course, all of the staff at the gallery, Anna, Lucy, Deirdre, Pam, Chris, Kevin, George, Ty. I hope I didn't miss anybody, but I think that's it.
I'm sure that you missed somebody. You're always going to miss somebody. So what we're going to do, we have a silent tour through your exhibition. It's going to go pretty fast, and we're just going to, you're going to explain to us what we're seeing. If there's something that speeds by, just let me know and I'll pause it. And I want to tell everybody who's watching from home that this is going to go quite fast. But we're going to go deeper into it tomorrow at the Lunch and Learn, and there will be more digital content that we roll out as the exhibition continues through May 29th. So let's just start. When we first started collaborating on this project, when I joined, obviously you had been working on it for a long time. We talked about it being a real piece of research. It was the representation of research, so we wanted to present it like nonfiction.
Right. So yeah, there's parts that relate directly to my experiences working with homeless people. These sculptures that we're going past right now and the painting that you saw at the beginning are all versions of the same house that was located on 4th and Louise here in Brandon. There was a fire in the house, and as a result, a number of people were left homeless because this building was separated into at least 4 suites. It was all low-income individuals. Some individuals had lived there for many, many years. Others were more tenuously housed. But it's one of those places that was a huge loss because rent was reasonable. There were people who depended on that place, I guess is what I'm saying. Now, this sculpture that's coming into view right now was another house that had squatters living in it. Essentially, well, there were the renters, but they also had a lot of non-tenants living in it. When the landlord started to have some problems, he evicted them, and about a week later, the house was set on fire again. We seem to have quite a few fires here, or either I'm focusing in on fires. But
there's this sense of loss that every time one of these places that had potential to help comes up, every time that every time that the city loses it, a lot of people there's a sense of loss, right? Yeah.
Right. And oftentimes these places I'm representing, although they may be rented to 1 or 2 people, are actually housing very, very many more. Yeah. Like sometimes you'll see 11 people in a 2-bedroom suite.
And that's something else. It empowers people to help their community in this way, right?
Exactly.
So we're going to swing quickly by the oral history installation, which is temporary and just for this exhibit, I believe.
Right. Well, these are excerpts from the interviews I did. So these are direct quotes from those interviews. Some themes come up repeatedly, like not being secure in where you're at, not being able to establish roots, things like being able to have, like coffee and cigarettes just to make you feel at home. Things like knowing your home when you have a place where you can come back and your stuff is just where you left it. Otherwise, there's none of that sense of security. Or people who never get used to the idea that they have any kind of stability, even though they've supposedly found it.
Yeah.
Okay, this piece relates to the house that I was talking about, the little sculpture that we just went by. And here's my source imagery. So this show includes photos I've taken of the places that I've then used to create different artworks from. And this is an interior shot of the safe and warm shelter here. So then we go on to a painting that I did based on that interior shot.
And you paint them so that you can infuse them with a little bit of haunting.
Exactly. Yeah. Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, I just want to move on to the 8th Street Bridge because that's so important to you in this series. Yeah.
Yeah, I've ended up making a number of pieces around the 8th Street Bridge. I was involved in a project called Winter Gardens where I did pieces that were outdoor based on that. Then I have 2 paintings in the show based on the 8th Street Bridge as well as the sculpture. It could no longer handle vehicle traffic, but the thing was that people camped under the bridge, people lived under the bridge, and it was a main connector for a neighborhood on the north side of the tracks to a neighborhood on the south side of the railway tracks.
Yeah.
So it was really, although vehicles could no longer go on it, the pedestrian community lost a quick way of getting from the north side into the downtown core.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just on either end of the city, of the downtown.
Exactly. Okay. Sorry, you were going to say?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay, yeah. The one we just went by is also on the poster, which is really lovely publication. There was the Greyhound station here was closed down, and a camp was made in the area where the dumpsters used to be kept. So this is a painting of that camp before it was discovered and cleaned out. You'll notice in this painting, as well as some of my other paintings, you'll see rabbits, and that's repeated. Rabbits are a repeated image in a lot of my work, and cats. The rabbits are symbolic of insecurity. I use them as, do we have time for the whole myth thing?
No, probably not. That's for tomorrow.
Okay, lunch and learn. I'll explain the myth, but the rabbits' insecurity, the rabbits' fragility, and cats, I don't know, cats are everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cats are, I feel like you treat them, again, this is for tomorrow. I will also, this might be a good time to say that the exhibition text is available online with the brochure in person, and it follows 4 chapters that this exhibition is divided into. So this is part of the mythology and symbolism section. So you can get a little bit more on that essay too if you're feeling too impatient to wait for tomorrow. And then the one that's coming up beyond that, I really like because it's this extinct building where the subject of it is what's not there.
Exactly. Yeah. So just like, with the 4th and Louise, I concentrated, I was able to get photos of the place before it was destroyed. This place was demolished. All that's left, you can see, is the sidewalk. Again, it was a house that was in incredibly bad shape. And I had done home visits there. what I've never experienced an apartment like the one I did the home visit there. The landlord had removed the trap door to the basement to do some repairs and never replaced it. So there was a plank over this section of the hall. So the tenant literally had to walk the plank to go to her bathroom. Which luckily she had a sense of humor, but
but that's crazy. And then these drawings are a bit older, but I like them because they're so earnest and kind of technical. They still have all that haunting, but I thought that they were a really good illustration of that stillness, that winter city that Brandon is.
Yeah. And so again, you know, they're photos I've taken myself. There are photos of places here in Brandon, except for this one, which is Cape Dorset. Yeah. But the others are scenes that we do see around here. And once again, the 8th Street Bridge, couches under the 8th Street Bridge.
Yeah. We'll talk tomorrow about how that's a place of assembly.
Right. Yeah.
And then we're going to end here in the exhibition with your animation, which you talked about quite a lot, because it's your first time doing it. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So this was a learning curve. It was like when I look at it now, I can actually see where I was going through the learning process. This is the first time I've done an animation. The script for it is once again an excerpt from one of the interviews that I did.
Yeah, and quite directly. Yeah.
And so it's about 3 minutes long.
Yeah.
Great. Well, that takes us through the tour. Those of you who just couldn't make it tonight, do come by. We're open with limited capacity. We're also open on Saturdays starting next week. So if you're just working, you can come by. And do keep an eye on our social media for more in-depth digital media. And then tomorrow, 1:30 Central Time, right here. There are so many stories behind each one of these paintings, each one of these artworks. And I think it's really interesting to see an artist who has been so known for being mythological, bring that into such a reality, to make a comment on reality. It's a really highly researched exhibition.
And the research is ongoing. So I'll be working on gathering interviews from the community still for another few months yet.
Yeah. So we'll stay tuned for that, because it's just all Brandon right now.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I'm going to let you get back to your fans, and I'll meet you out in the lobby.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so thanks for the chat, and thanks everybody for tuning in online. And I hope to see you soon.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.